Aloha, namaste. This is Radha, and I'm here to talk about our full moon that we have coming up here. It's going to be in the wee hours of the morning here in Hawaii, so 3:19 a.m. on the 5th of November. So our moon will be the brightest on Tuesday night on the 4th. And this is a full moon that holds a lot of significance for our relationship to this light that and our power that we've been reckoning with since Diwali 2 weeks ago. We had our new moon where the moon and sun came together, and the sun was in Libra, where our power, our authority, our sense, and our connection to source is debilitated. The moon then moved a few days later into Scorpio, where she's debilitated, where our emotions are up and down and all around. And now we're at the apex of that cycle. We're at this full moon where we're swinging the pendulum to the other side and reflecting upon our own capacity to act based on our intuition, our gut instincts. This sign of Aries has us, go for something, often with blinders on, not paying full attention to, what's happening around us and just fixated on where we need to go. The particular star this full moon's happening in is called Barani. And Barani is a star that is it holds the duality of life and death. It's the the meaning is to bear the consequences of our actions. And the symbol is the female yoni, which is a sign of creative, birthing and creativity and bringing forth something into this world. And a highly sexual energy. It's also ruled by Venus, which brings in more of that kind of creativity and sensuality. And then we have the god of the star is Yama, the god of death. And he holds us to the consequences, right? And the consequence of life is death. That's the one thing we know for sure. If anything is born into being, it will die. And the limitations upon which we put on our creations on the front end determine the ultimate outcome once it's out of our hands, which it becomes at some point, to some degree or another. If you're an artist, maybe you make a painting, and then once it goes, to the gallery, or once it gets sold to someone, it's sort of out of your hands. There's not much more you can do. If you're a writer, maybe once it goes to the editor or once it gets published, it's out of your hands. What other people do with your work is not up to you. Once you have a child, you raise it and care for it to a certain degree and to a certain age, and then it's out of your hands. Your child is going to go out into the world and be an adult and maybe bring great things to the world, and aid society, or maybe be a harmful, negative impact on the world. So the choices we have are early, and we need to make those choices early in anything that we do, because from there it's not up to us. And this is an important thing to recognize. Oh, I feel like this is bouncing around here. There was some loud noises, so I used my earphones, but now I'm creating my own loud noises. So maybe I'll see if I can take this out. Um, yeah, I think the noises have stopped. I can't stand having those things in my ears, but sometimes it's necessary. So the other thing about this full moon is that it is in the month of Kartik, and this is called Cartik Purnima. It is essentially like another Diwali, but because it's the full moon instead of the new moon, it's said to honor the gods. It's a Diwali of the gods. It's bringing in the light for the beings that are already of the light. And in the story of this particular full moon, we have this demon who was able to create three impenetrable cities. right? The gods could not get through these cities. His name was Tripura Sura. So Asura is always the beings without light. These are the demons. It literally just means no, without light, A, and Sura is light. And then Tripura is three, right? We have Tripura Sundari, and um, that that title is given to other things that are of three. Um, so these three cities, no one can get through, but there is one day when they're all going to line up perfectly. And Shiva takes an arrow and is able to shoot that one arrow through all three cities in their alignment and bring them down and bring down the demon. And this is, a significant symbol for us because it shows how, we have all these different challenges that happen in our world, all these different things that are happening around us and for us personally. And oftentimes it's chaotic trying to manage each problem or trying to take down each aspect. But when we tune into certain alignments, we can get it with one shot. We can kill two birds with one stone is an expression that's often used in the West. Like we have the capacity to let each victory parlay into the next victory. Almost like if you're knocking down a domino and it knocks into all the other ones and knocks them down. And this is why we want to know astrology, right? This is why we want to tune in to the cosmos. This is why it's really important to me personally to use Vedic astrology as opposed to Western astrology because the timings, the alignments are accurate, they're correct. When we're off, then it's not bad, but we're tuning into the wrong moment in time. If you're making a phone call and you want to reach somebody and place in your prayer, you're calling the wrong number. You're calling a number that was there 2000 years ago, but now there's a new person living in that house or a new energy that you're summoning. And so this is why it's so important to really tune into the why of what we do. So many people follow astrology and don't really even understand why are they following their sun sign? Why are they following the Western system? Well, it's just what they know. It's what I'm a Scorpio, I'm this, I'm that. But right now, the sun is not in Scorpio, and I'm going to share my screen. The sun is very much still in Libra, and she's still very debilitated, or he's still very debilitated, Surya. And the moon is across the way in the sign that the sun is exalted in. And so where we are receiving our power from is kind of like other people. We have this tendency right now to parse out our power. And with Venus in her own sign as well, our desire to harmonize and get along is strong. So this moon in Aries is like, oh, wait, but in order to really get along with anyone, we need to be strong in ourselves. And this is aided by the fact that Mars is in his own sign. The ruler of Aries is in his own other sign of Scorpio. And so we are working on strengthening ourselves. When Mars was in Libra, also for Diwali, we had Mars in Libra and we had Mercury in Libra. So Venus was not. Venus was in her state of debility, and all these other signs were giving and trying to compromise and trying to make nice. Now we have Mars and Mercury in this sort of inner warrior place where we're fighting our own shadows, our own demons, hopefully not just projecting outwards, blaming and shaming others, or cutting off connections and snapping, striking first so that we don't get hurt. This is a really common theme with Scorpio. But when we move to the higher elevation of Scorpio, which we can when the ruler's there, because he's powerful in his own sign, then we become inner warriors. We strengthen our own capacity to handle our fear. We face those demons in the shadows and they come up and we actually are able to integrate them into the light. And so we have a lot of power in this full moon because the ruler is in its own sign. Our desire to get along is there, but it doesn't have to be something that detracts from our capacity to take care of ourselves. It can be both. We can take care of ourselves. We can own our own fears. We can own our own shadows. We can own what comes up for us. And at the same time, we can communicate and engage with others in kind and friendly ways. Often, when Mercury is in Scorpio, and particularly when it's joined the ruler, we might be very harsh in our communication, or we might fly off the handle, or we might want to hurt somebody before they hurt us. But it's also a very vulnerable sign. And right now, the two are in Anurata. You can see the softest part of Scorpio, where we're more devotional and more inclined towards trust. And so this capacity for vulnerability is also present. And if we can look at our own shadows and communicate from that place instead of a place of blame or shame or projection, then we're more likely to meet people where they're at and let them see us, and they can see also the reflection of themselves. And in that space, deeper intimacy actually can be born. And we understand why we need space from one another, why we need to take the time to do what we need to do for ourselves. And that way, when we come back to other people, we're in a better place. If we're draining ourselves all the time trying to meet everybody else's needs, then we end up feeling resentful. So this has been a theme since the new moon, even before that, because Mars was in Libra before that, and so was Mercury. And now we're moving into a place of healing that. We're on the second half of the cycle where we're like, oh yeah, we also need to be not selfish, but at aware that our own energy is what we bring into any interaction. So if we're not solid in ourselves, there's no way our interactions with other people are going to be solid. And while the sun is still in debility, he has moved past the degrees where he's the highest debilitated. And we have this help of having the ruler there, which reminds us that the point is not to give away our power, but actually to find true harmony and true peace. So this holiday, this Purnima, this full moon, is also a celebration of when Vishnu transformed into the avatar of Matsya, when he's his fish avatar, who's said to be one of the first chelas, the first student. He listens, he overhears the conversation between Shiva and Parvati when they're on the river, and he becomes enlightened through hearing Shiva explain yoga to Parvati. Um, it's also supposed to be the day that the Ganges flowed down to earth from the heavens. So this is a powerful holiday, and we can tune into that higher level, that higher emanation of our own inner power and inner light and inner authority, and recognize that it's not predicated on other people's recognition of our power, authority, or light. And it's also not predicated on our ego and that desire to, um, you know, just be right no matter what, and who cares what other people think, and, I'm going to stand strong. But it's predicated on the truth of really constantly looking at ourselves and recognizing the ways in which we're all just doing the best we can. We're all hypocrites in a way. All the finger pointing that we do is pointing to things within ourselves that we see and feel shame about. Um, there's an expression that's like, if you don't you wouldn't see it in someone else if you didn't have a part of it in you. You wouldn't recognize it in someone else. So if we're going around noticing what's wrong with everyone else, then there's things within ourselves that are still unhealed. And this is where Scorpio can get really deep, and really profound transformation can occur if we move out of the jealousy and the blame and the fear and these big imagined things that happen where we start to, lash out at people and get very suspicious. If we instead are willing to discipline ourselves to look at our own part in all the things that we play in the big drama that we're all playing out here. It's so easy to get caught up in the news. It's so easy to get caught up in the stories amongst your more intimate community. It's so easy to get caught up in the interplay between you and another person. And it's so hard to stop all of that noise and really sit with, the truth of your own feelings. And how do you feel? I feel afraid, or I feel fear. I feel um, angry. Some of these negative emotions we don't enjoy feeling. When we can actually process them, we find that we feel much better afterwards. And whatever we were projecting on the movie screen in front of us as the big thing that's against us, it starts to go away. Now, of course, there are realities that are horrible in the world around us, and I'm not saying don't pay attention to them or um, don't act in the real world in ways that help counter these challenges that we're all collectively holding in our society. But we're actually much better actors and helpers and savadors, when we are in a clear and clean state of mind ourselves. When we're fighting against something and we're riled up and we think this is like this and that person's bad and this is this way and we have all these stories going on, our fight is that it's a fight. We're coming from the exact same energy that we're fighting against. When we feel calm and clean and cool, it's why sages and sadhus and people who hold that high vibration, everyone's magnetized towards them because they're not in the scuffle. They're not fighting for what's right. They're holding the light. And that's what this period of time can really call each of us into, to whatever level we're ready for, to wherever we're at on that particular path. So blessed Kartik Purnima, and I hope this is helpful for you. If you would like to join me very soon, in just a few weeks, we're going to be doing the Parasharas Jyotish Conference. It's really epic conference, all things Vedic astrology. There's some of the most amazing, incredible teachers and astrologers in the world showing up for 4 days from the 20th to the 24th of November. So it starts on a Thursday, goes through the weekend, and then it's ends on a Monday. And I'm actually teaching on Monday, the 24th. And if you sign up, you can use the code RADHA, RADHA, and you'll receive 10.8% off for your either just a ticket to Monday or for the whole conference. And this year, I'm going to be teaching on something very close to my heart. I'm going to be sharing my work with mythology, with the deities, and how I use this as remedy for various things in my chart, in other people's charts, for things to rectify planetary energies that are needing help, and also to work with the whole chart and houses that are challenged. So we're going to dive deep into specific charts in the second half of it. The first half of it, we're really going to sit with the stories and the ways in which they show us the healing. They show us the path for ourselves so that we don't need to, as astrologers, play God, or as people who are receiving these readings or these teachings feel like we're, okay, I need to know this much more in order to get there. I need this prescription. I need somebody to tell me how many times I need to say this mantra a day, and, where I need to, what I need to buy, what I need to do to fix myself. It really helps to move us out of that mentality of fixing ourselves or getting something, or you know, trying to make something bad better. And instead moves us into this vibration where we are the keepers of our own light, very similar to this particular full moon, where we are the ones who hold the power, and the energies around us are always shifting. We just need to tune into the natural, energetic, universal flow, and the answers come to us. It's not this big strife and this big practice of the ego to fix all our problems. It's a relaxation and a releasing of all the things we're trying to get and achieve and strain for. and instead an allowance of the grace to flow through us. And so I really find this to be a beautiful practice that helps people help themselves, which is what I really aim to do in my work. So again, you can join me Parashara's Jyotish conference. It's parasharsconference.com. And you can sign up with the code Radha for either just the Monday or for all the days. We have a really beautiful lineup for Monday. In fact, my teacher Sam just decided to join the lineup and he's teaching right before me. So I urge you to come and it'll be great. And if not, I'll see you again soon. I do my weekly forecast as always. If you want to know this full moon specifically highlighting for you in your chart, you can go to my Patreon group, patreon.com, Radha Home Astrology, and sign up for Cosmically Aligned, and you'll get your full moon forecast for this particular week, all of the transits for this week. And as we move forward, the new transits, I always share what that means for you. So I hope to see you soon, somewhere, someplace, and have a blessed full moon. Namaste.